Thank you for watching Gugudde TV. And right about now, we have a guest, and he's going to introduce himself.
Sure.
And then we are going to go into our discussion. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Samantha.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Fine, thank you.
Good morning, viewers. My name's Village Junior Gilbert, and I'm the Programs Manager for Makele Innovation and Incubation Center, as well as the Programs Manager for Youth Aid Africa. Good to meet you and good to be hosted on that.
Well, Gilbert,
Thank you for honoring our invitation.
that's good.
Yes, so you are a program director in both organizations?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. Well, the people watching us today, we are talking about why sciences were poorly done or poorly performed at USCE, at the USCE level, right?
Yeah.
And you know, one of the reports that I read was actually that the only way they're going to improve is by putting up more laboratories. Yeah, which I did not agree with, because laboratories are not going to teach people science.
Yeah.
So just before we get that far, I'd like to just ask, what are some of the reasons that led to science being poorly performed?
Thank you, Samantha. The reasons and the factors for failure, especially of sciences, are quite many.
Okay.
And most of them have been explained, and I know that they are understood by the stakeholders in our education system. And you can agree with me that right away from the pre-primary and the primary level, still sciences are not being performed well. And to my opinion, one of the reasons is that we still have that bad mentality. And I still want to express it, that it's not always right that our pupils, our students, are told that sciences are the only way to be successful. And they're the only way to be happy. They say doctors, engineers. But right away from, I said pre-primary and then primary, you grow up knowing that if you don't perform well in science, in biology, in chemistry, you are a failure, which is always not right. Now they're talking about putting up laboratories and etc. How about the teachers? The other day I had a discussion in some forum, and we're talking about how these teachers are groomed. Most of the teachers who actually become even science teachers are the students probably who failed, maybe at USCE, and then they were taken up in university. Most of them say, okay, we cannot take biology or chemistry, but let us do art subjects so that we can be taken up by maybe government scholarship in Makele University. So all these factors will still contribute to failure, and especially in science subjects. I'll give another example. There's a friend of mine who was telling me that in his recent concluded exams of USCE, his son got very good marks. Very good marks. I think he had the AAA and something, but the son wanted to become a lawyer. But somehow, because the parents want him to become probably a business person, because they are business people, are doing business, there is that discouragement that you cannot be a lawyer, be a business person, because we have done business and we are doing well. So you keep seeing that the discussion keeps going to the mentality of the parents, of the students, of the schools, and etc. Schools have also become businesses, but they don't really mind what you do best, but how you perform. If you get 8 in 8, they don't want to know if it was the chemistry that you understand better, if it is biology that you understand better, but they want to see the grades, which I think is still a problem. That we need to go back to the ground and say, look, not everyone can do sciences, can do biology based, chemistry based. But whichever career that you want to take, you can be successful. And as we go, I think as we go on with the show, I'll be giving you scenarios of the students that we mentor at Makele University, where a student comes in and is, I'll give an example, maybe before you even go any further. There is a student who came in and was doing medicine, but he was not interested in medicine. He performed very well in science subjects and went for medicine. But he's telling us, no, I'm not interested. I want to do something to do with maybe mentorship, maybe coaching, maybe entrepreneurship, maybe innovation and etc. Which I think you'd agree with me that he's doing something that he likes and which he will enjoy and which he will do best, rather than becoming a doctor and then a day or two he's saying, no, I cannot do this job because I'm underpaid. Maybe I'm not happy with my job. Maybe this could also explain why you have so many strikes. So I would really agree with most of the people who are giving in their views that our education system is still so poor. Poor in that we inherited it from the colonialists.
Yes.
That we cannot think of how we can change it and make it better. We have a pyramid kind of education system, where right away from primary you're looking at going to Makerere. And how do I go to Makerere? I have to perform all subjects. I have to get 8 in 8, have to get 25. But going to Makerere is not the only way of becoming successful.
Gilbert,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
talked about having a mentality that science subjects are the ones that are always maybe, the people who do science subjects are ones who excel. Yes?
Mhm.
And this is a mentality that is moving around with different parents.
Yeah.
And if we're to get a solution,
Mhm.
in my view,
Mhm.
that alone could not change the academics
Mhm.
of the children. Because there are some people who have been given the liberty to do what they want,
Mhm.
or maybe like I've excelled and then I want to go and study law. I mean, I'm given the liberty to go and study law.
Mhm.
And then actually I don't even excel at the law school, you know, and my energies could have been better somewhere else, you know. So I'm persuaded that the aspect of mentality would be backed up with something else, don't you think?
Yeah, before you answer that, don't you think my mother is in Kayunga.
Mm.
I know she doesn't understand what we are saying,
Yeah.
but someone maybe is interpreting for her.
Yeah.
But don't you think it would be wise if we knew what the sciences are, what is passing and what is failing? Because agriculture is a science, right?
Yes.
But you'll find very many people don't know that sciences as well. You get what is passing. If I get O, that's a point, right?
Yeah.
F is no point.
That's failure.
Then it means you failed.
Mm.
But someone doesn't know. If someone has scored O, or BC,
Like I have failed.
Because actually, during my HSC, I consider myself to have failed, but I got 19 points. Now,
And then you were counting in 20.
25, yeah. Why I said I failed? Because everyone, all my peers, were 23, 24, you get 20 something, 20 something. And because of what took me up by then, I performed that way. Now, what do you consider? What should we consider to be sciences?
Okay, thank you so much. I'll answer the questions with a quotation that probably most of us have heard or can understand. That Albert Einstein said that everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it will die knowing that
It is a failure.
It is foolish.
Yeah.
So if you want to judge our students, our brothers, our young brothers and sisters, that they have failed because they have not performed well in biology, then you are going to prove to them that they are a failure, which I don't agree with. I was seeing rounds of messages on WhatsApp, in WhatsApp groups, and it is saying there was no one who got an A in biology in the last concluded USC exams. And it was bothering everyone.
But that's it? That's a record? There was no A in biology?
Yes, but
Yes.
it
In the
was-
whole country?
Yes, I saw it somewhere. But then, and they said actually it has happened, it has gone over for about, I think, 3 years. 3 years.
There is no A in biology
Yes,
for 3 years?
And people are failing it. And then there is problem, no one following this up. But going back to your point, I don't think that if a person gets 24 out of 25, the way your peers were getting in 20s, and you got 19 out of 25, and you consider yourself a failure, you're not a failure. Even if a person got 10, by the way, I would want to still go to my point to answer your question of the education system of Uganda. Honestly, a one-time exam, what are the exams they do at the end of their 6 years? Those exams determining their future, determining their failure, determining their job, determining their career is not something I don't agree with. It is a one-time job. Sorry, a one-time exam. When we use the university kind of system, assessment, that they assess the students semester per semester, term per term, why wouldn't we probably carry on that into our high level, not high level, but our A level, O level, and maybe primary? Because remember, this student is doing exams probably in 2 weeks, maybe in 1 week. The primary kids do it in about 2 days. But these exams, we have a mentality that are going to determine our future. If I get less than 20, then my future is squashed, which is not true. Maybe something happened during those, maybe I've been performing very well previously, but during those 2 weeks of the exam, something happened. I was not myself, maybe family problems or whatever. And I'll give you an example. There's a friend of mine who used to be so brilliant in high school. He was always topping the class. He had PCB, math. Then somehow, I don't know what happened. When the exams came, the gentleman got, I think, 12 points. He was very frustrated and he considered himself a failure. He had to go through some kind of counseling and etc. so that he can get back. He was actually thinking of going back to redo the exams. Because he was looking at getting 25 points, 24 points.
And then he got 12.
And I'm very sure that if this gentleman actually was taken up, he would go and become a very good engineer, a very good doctor. Not that probably he doesn't know the things that he was doing, but it was like an exam, which I want to say that this shouldn't determine someone's future.
So are you one of the people that advocate for cancellation of those exams?
Yes. The neighbor assessment, it is good because it puts up standards somehow. But then, especially like USC exams, determining someone's future, just like that. No, I don't agree. I would also advocate that we put them down. Or UNEB can keep there, being a body to spearhead the assessment. But then we can change the methodology or the assessment. We say maybe we do average, term by term by term by term, then we do the average at the end of it all. Not like these are final exams. When even students hear that term, final exams, that already
intimidates.
Some intimidation. How am I going to pass? This is my future.
What if I fail?
And the teachers also do that. This is your future. This is what is going to determine who you're going to be, which university you're going to. If you don't get 25, no government scholarship. So the student will get that stress together with, there could be family problems. You know how Uganda is. Sometimes there's no school fees and no whatever, but the student is also determined to get somewhere. So eventually, all those factors end up making our students, our brothers and sisters, fail the exams.
Yeah, so we were basically talking about why science was poorly performed. And I do not want to say that maybe there were no laboratories, but I want to drive it to the teachers.
But perhaps there weren't laboratories.
Well, even if they were not there, the contribution of the laboratories is not that big. Yeah.
Don't you think, Gilbert, don't you think it is significant in a way? Because when I was in high school, I was in a school whereby we started accessing labs. First term, senior one. Basically, immediately after primary, we accessed laboratories. So we'd see the apparatus. Actually, they used to call us Bunsen burners. Because
yeah, that term has forever lasted. Senior ones are Bunsen burners. But you know, I'm persuaded that because it's pointless. There are people who have laboratories, but they don't even understand. So it starts with the teachers.
Yeah,
and then it goes to the students. Because some students have one of the best teachers in the country, and they still fail. You know. So you're going to. Let me ask you a question. You are reminding us of the review that there was no A. Now, where were schools like Namugongo, like St. Mary's Chitendi, like Chisubi? These schools have everything. How come there is no A?
That's so why I was wondering.
Do you second me on that?
Not entirely, but I said a combination of factors has led to this. I'll still give you another example, still coming to that. Still a friend of mine who were discussing, who told me his son, I think, got something like, was it 11.8 with the senior 4 exams?
Okay.
And then when he was moving around the schools, one of the schools where he had done his UCE exams called him and gave him a different combination. But this gentleman wanted to, he said he wants to become a doctor. So he wanted a combination of PCB something. But then the school administration says, no, in biology you got credit 3. In this one you got credit 4. In history you got D1. So you got D1. Then you got. Now, going back what I said, they are determining his future based on the credits that he got. A credit is passing.
Yeah,
Pass.
you've passed.
Actually, the person gets a pass 7, a pass 8, he has passed. It's not that he has failed. But because for them they are looking at the stake is high for these guys to pass. It is, you cannot now start judging someone because you don't get a D1 but you got a credit 3.
I understand, Gilbert.
And eventually you spoil the person's future. Maybe the passion that the person has to do a certain career in future. So this gentleman ended up taking up the combination that the school gave him.
Yeah.
And I was blaming the parent. I was like, my friend, why would you accept? You also wanted another career for your child. Probably the career the child wanted. So what did you accept? Say, well, the school is good. That's another factor. Because we, the media, have put up some schools that these are the best schools, these are best schools in Uganda, they rank highly. We want our students to go to these ones. And when they are there, the school also determines the future of your student, which I also don't agree with. Going back to the teachers, I think when I was starting the segment, I talked about how sometimes we get our teachers. Not all of them are substandard, but we must agree that some of them are substandard. When I was growing up, my father was a head teacher. And every time I would show some skills of being a teacher, he would tell me, my son, not a teacher. I'm a head teacher, I'm doing teaching for some more time, but not a teacher. Don't consider it.
Not this way.
But somehow, I ended up into
Teaching.
Part-timely, I do lecturing in a number of institutions. So what I'm talking about is something that I've gone through, I've experienced, and I've seen, and I've heard, etc.
Do you agree that some teachers are teachers only because it was like a force? I've seen people go for pre-entry.
Absolutely.
And government offers them sponsorship in education.
Absolutely. You know, even from our primary teachers, that these are the failures of probably senior 4. When they say, now that I failed senior 4, you go to the training school for teachers.
Go to TTC.
NTC. Go there and do some course and then they come and teach.
Then they start upgrading after.
Then the students, they're starting to groom right away from down there. Samantha, it seems you understand the Western language.
I do.
There is a proverb that akati kalimikwa kachi kabisi.
No. Gilbert.
Yes.
Thanks for copying.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be akakyama amamera. Bw'okagolola kamenyeka.
That is absolutely the same.
Yeah.
So, right away from pre-primary, nursery schools, even the nursery teachers are the ones probably who are failed, who could not get somewhere to go. But they say, go and do some nursery teaching. From there we go to primary, same thing. From there we go to UCE, same thing.
And I see,
there are just a few people who did teaching as their passion.
I see
And
Gilbert.
I know some of them who actually went for teaching because they like it, they love it, they had marks of doing a better course, but they went for education.
But you realize these are the teachers who are just thrown into
a bigger percentage of it
are actually the ones killing.
Yes.
By the way, Gilbert, you're doing something at Makerere.
Yeah.
These things also are happening in Makerere. When you come, perhaps you've done a combination, and you want a certain course, Then they will tell you, no, you not do that course. Rather, we'll give you this. You get?
Yeah.
But it all
No.
starts at HSC.
Yeah.
I know. That's where I was coming.
Yes.
Schools like those first world schools. You know, performance is very key to them.
Yeah.
Like
It is business.
Like-
It's business. They want shine.
like you
They
said.
don't want to care who you become after, but they want shine and
Thank
get
you.
more.
Like you said,
Yeah.
that child who got 11 and 8, and then the school chose that instead of doing PCBM, you'll do history, economics, literature, and maybe divinity. Just because the kid scored D1 in CRE, you get.
And
So,
you know what? Let me intercept. You know what? They want this student to go for these courses. For these subjects, where he's going to get 20,
exactly.
So that
and the school is going to
can
shine. Yeah, and then get more students.
Wow.
Then
Business.
how do you explain it at Makerere? They will tell you, don't do this course, rather do this.
That is why people end up in jobs they don't like, because they have been forced to do a course, and then the course connects them to a job which is just totally the opposite of what they wanted to do their life with.
So it is going back to my other point of education system,
Yes.
because the points that you got are determining your future. Somehow, well, you got 20 points, and at Makerere they say for this course you must have these points. They are not to blame. Makerere and other universities are not to blame, because National Council for Higher Education puts up these guidelines. For you to admit a student on this course, you must have 2 principal passes. For you to admit a person on this diploma, must have 1 principal pass. So they have nothing to do. And this is the education system that I still want to argue that it should be changed. As in me getting 20 points and then you fail me, or you fail my future because I cannot do an entrepreneurship course. Honestly, if you're going to do entrepreneurship, if you're an entrepreneur, you don't need to have background of history, of geography. An entrepreneur just boom, thinks and innovates. Already at Makerere Innovation Education Center, we are looking at that mentality change. We are telling these students that no, let your grade not define your future. Some people have started from 0
Yes.
and they are
On top.
on top.
But Gilbert, if I could chip in a bit,
Yeah.
do we have policy researchers in Uganda?
Very many of them.
Do they work for
Full
government?
departments, yes. With
What?
the Ministry of Finance, every ministry has these
Yeah,
researchers.
Policy researchers.
Yes, you go to National Planning Authority, they do this.
Do they do their job? Because I'm looking at it in this perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole thing of sciences being performed poorly, because this is the truth now. We should face the truth.
Yes.
The world is digital. It means the world is science now.
Yeah.
Their jobs of arts teachers, law, whatever, arts basically. But the truth is, in one way or the other, that arts person needs science. So which means we should be more science than art. That's a fact.
Is mathematics a science?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Exactly. You know, I've seen people complain that, me, I was running away from mathematics, but the other math caught up with me.
Of course, you cannot avoid it. But again, you have seen how the government has come in through the ministries and etc. to say we are going to facilitate science teachers better, to say we are going to put up laboratories, to say we are going to increase the salary for science teachers. All this is going to be done. But if you're going to increase my salary and I'm not a good quality teacher, what's going to improve? Yes, it's good. It's a motivation that science teachers work harder and then they have enough time for students.
Have you realized that in Uganda, people go where there is what to get?
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone is learning Chinese. You wonder why. I'm not being biased,
Mm.
but if, just say, maybe science teachers are earning twice as much as arts teachers, don't you think everyone will run to be a science teacher? Not because they want to excel at teaching science,
But they want to
because
earn.
they want to earn the money.
Yes, thank you for that.
Wow.
It is also another element in there. I'm going to force myself to go for a science because I want to earn more. The other time, I think it was one of the president's speech where he was talking about that he wants to start seeing us assembling cars here, assembling computers, assembling whatever. Yes, which can be done. But those guys that are doing that, the countries that are doing that, didn't start probably from 0. These guys, when the kid is growing up, he starts playing with robots. By the time he's about 18, he can start assembling something. But our kids, when they are growing up,
Duru.
actually, I appreciate that Uganda is an entrepreneurial country, and I think it's one of the best. It was ranked one of the best entrepreneurial countries. We are doing well in entrepreneurship. But again, we have these factors that are still keeping us low. If you go back to our history, we used to do so well, by the way, in entrepreneurship. You used to see how kids would start making up dolls, maybe made from banana fibers, making cars from, I don't know, wire mesh and etc. Now, such a kid who can be identified, who can do that, minus any training, by the way, they would do it out of, that's now out of the entrepreneurship zeal. That's the zeal that comes within yourself. And the kid makes a car, and he can move around with it. Now, if such a person would be identified just from there, he can do great. But what happens after that? Going to CRA, going to history, going to geography.
Parts of a grasshopper.
That other mindset that the kid had maybe right away from his early stages, early years, he loses it up.
Yes, but you know, I also I've done some scouting on our education system. I discovered there are some parents who have actually resorted to advocating for international school. Yeah?
And you know what?
No.
Education system. Back to my point, education system. It's completely different from ours.
No.
This is the Green Hill Academy, and it's completely different. They look at the education system of Uganda and say, no, not this. Let me have my kid in international school, because they know what is the other side.
So do you think now, in your opinion, this is you, Gilbert, what do you think it's a better, a better channel to take, international school, or someone should go and learn the parts of a grasshopper when they're going to be lawyers?
I get you.
Not entirely, but everyone should go to international. Of course, we cannot afford.
Not everyone can afford.
Brothers and sisters, parents, grandparents, relatives cannot afford to take us to international school. But I would just urge the government and the stakeholders to this education system, education ecosystem, think about how we can actually change the entire education system. It should be reviewed. As in, we can copy from what the international school is doing. Doesn't need that all of us go the other side. We can benchmark and see how you guys are doing. And I'm sure the stakeholders in ministries and whatever have traveled, they have seen what is happening. But somehow, I don't know. You know the president normally says, I put universal secondary education, universal primary education, so that I help those ones who cannot afford going to school, which is a good idea, because there are those who cannot pay even 10,000 for maybe a child to go to school. It is not that UP and USE are completely failure. Still people pay, but it is also good that those who cannot afford completely can at least acquire maybe a few skills. So, since we're talking about change of education system, having the pyramid kind of way of thinking that all of us need to go to university. After university, I have achieved. I have become successful. I normally see after graduation from Makerere, of any university, most students take up pictures and put them on social media. At last, I've achieved. I'm somewhere. It's when I say that I'm somewhere. But then, most of them who maybe can be my relatives or my friends, I normally tell them, this is just the beginning. You haven't achieved. It's not the beginning yet.
Does that mean that you're talking about the pyramid kind of education system, where everyone just looks up to reach the top? Does that mean that it should not necessarily be just reaching at the top, like there could be different channels? Someone could just maybe go do a diploma and then start up something.
Actually, there's a friend of mine. He's an engineer, construction, computer technical. His son did S4 O-level. So I was asking him, where is this guy going? He told me, I want to take him to a technical school. This guy has the ability for his child to go to any school. You get?
And I support it.
But he's looking at those things are trending and he's like, no. Instead of him going for HSC,
let him go to
yeah,
a technical school.
yeah.
Well, you know, there are some people from the opposition trying to advocate for change of education system.
Yeah.
That from O-level, people should just cross to different vocational institutes instead of going to HSC. You know, because I also realized that when people are in these vocational institutes, they learn things both in class and practically, which sometimes doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And there's a way their knowledge is, you know, their eyes are opened wider. So do you think that would be a good initiative?
Yes, not that everyone should divert into vocational training schools or what we might call technical schools. Not entirely. Those who can continue, because we need lawyers, we need doctors who may not pass through the. But surprisingly, our education system has those areas. I was looking at one of the documents from the Ministry of Education, and they were trying to explain those different routes that a student can take. Even right away from P7, you can go technical right away. Senior 4, you can go to the technical school, you can go to a nursing school, you can go to, then from A-level you can go to university, you can still go, even for A-level you can still go to a technical school. I also work with Management Training and Advisory Center, which is an institution under Ministry of Trade that is responsible for training and skilling. They have courses that are formal. Diploma in Business Administration, Human Resource, etc., ICT and etc. They also have training programs that are the skilling programs, like catering, like leather tanning, shoemaking, fashion and design, etc. I can tell you that when a student finishes a course at MTAC, which is about a 6-month course, even if it is a year, you can start a business right away and start earning, as the other person who went to university is still struggling to finish the 3 years and also finish another, I don't know how many years on the street looking for a simple job to do. And some of these ones who went technical, all those who went to MTAC and did a short course, are the ones who actually employ the other ones who actually did what? Who did a bachelor's degree somewhere in certain university. So vocational school, another way to go. And I agree with it. But just that, in the beginning I talked about mentality. People still think that my kid going to a technical school, going for a diploma, no way. He must go to university and must go to Mackenzie. Who says if a person goes to technical school, he cannot become successful? There are, I think, jobs that will never end at any time. Garages, if you did mechanical engineering, it's a short course, a certificate, and you started at the garage. Every time, you cannot even spend a week when your car has not got a problem, and you must go to a garage. These guys are doing so well. So why keep insisting, or keep with the mentality that the only way to become successful is go, you do a bachelor's, you do a master's, you do a PhD.
I hope these people won't be angry. You've seen rally drivers.
Yeah.
You know, a rally car costs over 250 million, one rally car, and maintenance in a one race can go up to 20 million. Fuel, blah 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 blah, and 80% of rally drivers are mechanical engineers, biomechanica. So there is no way you can go and do such a sport where you don't have money. But they have studied in technical institutions. You get? So when most parents or guardians think my child has to go to Makerere, it's okay. But if your child doesn't go to Makerere and goes to maybe Gilbert Technical Institute, they could equally be well. Actually, I've picked a leaf from what you were saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be to the top of the pyramid. Because I've seen kids. I've seen kids, people who have come from Makerere, but are still hustling. If you get 6 million.
Actually, the most, you could say, the most number of unemployed people. I think the biggest percentage are degree holders.
That is why
qualified.
This
qualified
group,
in quotes. Qualified.
That's why this group of it's my jobless brotherhood are all graduates.
Yes.
all of them. You get 3 million. Give this 3 million to someone from university, graduate, and then get 3 million, give it to a child who has gone to a vocational institute, or done catering, and is making Chikomando somewhere, Rolex. 2 years down the road, you'll find this guy you gave 3 million and is doing Chikomando with maybe a kaboda boda, another stage of Chikomando. Basically, he's multiplying the 3 million.
That's true.
And then this person who is a graduate, you'll find
Buy a house, they may go buy a car.
what happy, you'll find them with a iPhone, broken screen, and maybe headsets and a charger in the pocket, and you get.
That's true.
So
Very true.
I've really picked a leaf from what you're saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be to the top of the pyramid. So no wonder kids have failed sciences a lot because of what we impart in their heads. Oinagenda wano. Oh my.
No, but you know, even some as that, this is just me repeating the whole point of mentality. Everyone has crammed it that you know. Science is the way to go. You know, and it's actually bringing a very big disservice. It's doing a big disservice to the nation that are going to look at Gilbert and say, Gilbert made it in life. He has succeeded. Even my child has to go through the steps of Gilbert because I want my child to succeed. But we forget we all have different
talents,
potential. Yes. So we all have different potential, different energy. So if Gilbert is very hard working, he's going to go here, work here, work here. And then me, my son, even if he follows through, Nawanaga is too lousy. And he still fails in the same path that Gilbert took.
During the releasing of exams by the, I think, UNEB and Ministry of Education, there was a statement that it was like a complaint that only 10% of the students who registered for UACE were registered with science combinations. Only 10%. And it was a complaint. They were disturbed by that only 10%. And to me, I was like, maybe the 10% are the people who have the zeal, who have the passion for sciences. Maybe the 10%. Yes, there's all you can increase it, not forcing these ones to. You can probably tell them why they need to do it. This would go to, you may need to go through some little bit of counseling and the mentorship and coaching. But this mentality of telling people, you have to do science. If you want to be successful, you want to be happy in life, be a doctor.
Before, Gilbert, there's that quote you want to give us.
Yes, by Herman Cain. He said, success is not a key to happiness, but happiness is the key to success.
Wow.
When you do something when you're happy, you already success.
Yes, but remember they're telling you that for you to be happy, to have money, to become prosperous, to help our family, my son, you must be a doctor. But what will it be when I become a doctor and I'm not happy with it, I don't have passion for it? Am I even going to treat the patients the way I'm supposed to?
There are people you find slapping the patients seriously in the hospital. But a quick question. Do you think failure has a contribution to success?
Yes.
It has.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Come again?
Do you think failure has a contribution to success?
Okay.
Yes.
I
say
believe,
yes.
let me break it down for you. Someone has failed this set of exams.
Yes.
They'll say, I failed. I think I need to work harder.
Yeah.
And then they're going to excel the next set.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't really consider these final exams, let's say someone has performed poorly at USCE, because there's a lady who topped everyone at Makerere University, but when they were doing a brief survey on how she had been performing, her USCE was terrible.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
So you know, when someone comes up and has failed this, they are going to add an extra effort and say, you know what, I need to double my effort. And so they shouldn't be forced to do something.
Yeah, and if she was judged at her USCE that you're a failure, you're whatever, if that person said those words, what will he or she say after the person has gotten, I think, 4.9 as CGP at Makerere? Would you retrieve your words or what?
You cannot take them back. You just have to have the walk of shame.
In relation to what some others said, there is also another quote that Churchill said, that success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. actually success is determined by failure. How do you tell me that I'm successful
When
I've
you've not failed.
Actually, failure determines
Success. Yeah, you're right.
So we shouldn't really keep judging, and that word kept on appearing in the speeches and the comments of people. Boys are failed. So many these ones did with
Yes.
failure, which was, I think, not nice.
Yeah, it was very disturbing.
It was very disturbing. And then I also wanted to agree with the comments that were also coming in, saying that the reason why UNEP was saying that at UCE and USCE, some of the issues they had were malpractice. There was something like cramming. Also goes back to what I've been saying. Why do you think a student will be crammed?
Because they don't understand, they don't like what they do.
Yes, they want to pass, they want to get 25. I don't care if I pass it by singing
But if
what is in
someone
the
loves
notes.
what they do,
Yes.
they will take their time to understand,
Yes.
not to cram. Like for sure, if I love doing this whole anchoring thing, I'm going to go home and be like, how do I get better? I will read all sorts of articles that have been put up on social media and different blogs, you know. But if I'm not interested, I'll just be like, after all, it's by force. I'll just come, same routine, and who knows?
Yeah,
I'll
you're,
just-
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Another comment was about what? Malpractice. Why is there malpractice? Still mentality. They're saying, if you don't cheat, our school is going to fail, and then we shall lose students. If you don't cheat, we are not going to pass, and then we shall be failures in life. No. Also, that's still those issues that they're talking about of malpractice, of cramming, of smelling what. They're also getting back to what I've been talking about: education system, mentality, and what is going on within our education ecosystem. That they still think that if a school doesn't get a person in first grade or doesn't get a person with A,
That's a bad school.
I was seeing
It's
the
no
ranking
way.
all over the newspapers, ranking best school, worst school, best school, worst school, best performing subject, best. Yes, that's good because it encourages maybe the young ones to work better or to work harder. But it shouldn't be portrayed that schools are failed because they don't have a person with an A.
They don't have a meter to judge. You know, there was a scandal at Law Development Center, and people have come to cram, but it's only Makerere University and UCU that are the law institutions. And then there's IU down this side. Then it's like, who goes to IU? And then a student from IU tops up with a first class, super first class at Law Development Center. And everyone is thinking, which university was at the backwards level? Which university did this person come from? IU. So I don't think people can judge by saying because the school does not have, it's about the values that have been instilled in someone that are going to determine. Yeah?
That's why we had a discussion in Parliament and everywhere saying that do we really need to have pre-entry exams at the Law Development Center? That discussion took some time. Do we really need them? Because they want to determine the person who is coming to become a lawyer by those pre-entry exams. And that's what I was talking about previously for the UNEB assessment. They want to determine that you can be you can be a lawyer by this re-entry exam or assessment, that this determines your future in law career, which I also didn't agree with, and I would support those who are saying it should be scrapped off. Pre-entry exams, no.
Let the final exams be the ones to determine.
Yeah, and good enough they do this assessment of semester per semester, then they find average. Honestly, if a person is assessed for maybe 6 years in the high school, from senior 1 to maybe senior 1 to senior 4, then they assess term per term or year per year. By about 4 years, then maybe you can say maybe this person is a failure. Maybe, I'm saying maybe, but you have assessed this person averagely for a year. Maybe A level is assessed for 2 years averagely, but then just 2 weeks determining the person's future of doing UNEB exams. I don't agree with them.
Well, Gilbert, I would love us to take this discussion even further and further, but our time is actually fast spent. But just before we close this segment, I'd like you to at least give us a piece of advice. Tell us something.
Thank you so much, Samantha. One of the reasons why we started up the Makerere project, the Makerere Innovation Education Center, was to help, to give a hand Of course, we may not do it alone. We need everyone's support in changing the mindset of these students. And we want to go down to the grassroots and make sure that these students understand that they have a lot of potential. These exams, science subjects, are not the yardstick to use to determine their career, their passion, their future. So, my own encouragement is that everyone in the education ecosystem, this is the government, the ministries, the agencies, we have development partners like NGOs in the education sector, we have universities, we have schools, we have teachers, we have parents, we have we brothers and sisters of these young ones. We have a big role to play. The government can play its role. My colleague, Mr. Madu, will talk about how the policymakers may also be failing to play their role. So let everyone play his or her own role, right away from government. They do what they can. Let them look through and see if we can change the education system, and which I would encourage. They can do all the benchmarking and see how education systems are doing. Let us, the parents, also learn from this, that our children cannot be failures because of the simple exams that they have done, and probably have not performed well. I wouldn't want to say that they have failed. They have not performed well due to some reasons. Let the parents, let us brothers and sisters of these young kids, mentor them. You telling your brother and sister that you're going for these exams, do your best, do what you can. But if you fail, it's all right. I wouldn't want them to say that if you fail. If you don't get 80, because the yardstick is so high. I'm told that even in primary they put like D1 about 85 or 90.
90.
You can imagine. If you don't get 90, if you get 60, you have passed. That's why at university we say pass mark is 50. If you get below 50, maybe you get a retake. But these kids are being judged at the 90 yardstick. So my own appeal would be to the stakeholders of the education system, all players, that we take up this challenge of ensuring that the education system is actually improved in one or the other. I know all of us have some role to play in our capacities at different levels, be it teachers, be it education officers. Maybe we don't do enough supervision and the evaluation of how the schools are doing. There are so many players in the education system. You realize that it is so wide, right away from pre-primary, nursery teaching up to maybe universities. There is a lot that we can do. So that's my only encouragement and the advice that I would give to ourselves, because we are all players in this.
Thank you so much, Gilbert.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for watching this segment of the Standard Magazine. But right about now, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. And when we return, we will have the sports segment. So do not touch that dial. Ebeneza Mukama Afuga.
Hi ladies, 8th March will be the International Women's Day. So the Ladies Ministry